Well, ordinarily I wouldn't figure someone who calls himself Green Garden Guy with a channel on YouTube should be terribly excited about actually having tomatoes in the garden. Yeah, whoopee, big deal, huh? Well, things are different here in Puna. There definitely are. It's gardening 101 all over. This is Mountain Merit, and she's doing really, really well. I brought a couple in for breakfast this morning. Well, it got a little wet out there. Yeah, I had to dry the camera off again. I'm sick and tired of having to send the camera back to Canon to get repaired every time I flood it. So here I am back inside, and I have samples of Mountain Merit sitting here on a plate. I have tried numerous different tomatoes here in Puna. I have not found any larger fruited tomatoes to this date that worked. I went through everything the University of Hawaii has to offer. Well, there's a bred for a different climate than Puna. They don't work over here. And, well, I guess the whole thing got started when one of my friends, Greg McAllister here, brought me over some seeds for a thing called Purple Tiger. This was a hybrid tomato, an F1. He had taken seed from the tomato and brought it, so it wasn't exactly true. But I guess a major thing with it was that it was a little more orange than it was purple. Kind of reminded me of Mr. Stripey. Anyway, it grew fine. It was quite disease resistant. It wasn't perfect, but it was disease resistant enough to produce good tomatoes. I ate some on my omelet this morning. They were very tasty. It's got excellent flavor. So I'm very happy about it. Well, it got me motivated. I'm going, oh man, there must be some other tomatoes out there too. It can't just be one. So I shopped around and I found 2 tomatoes at Johnny's that looked good, had a lot of disease resistance. That was Skyway and Mountain Merit. This guy here is Mountain Merit. It is apparently the first. You can see size-wise, it's a palm full. So this is a good slicer for a hamburger. It's pretty. The plants have no disease on them at all. This is just unbelievable. I know. You guys that live in, the Midwest or in the East and so on, you're going, oh man, Bill's a big deal. Bill's got a tomato. Bill's got a tomato, big deal. I mean, I remember, right? I remember growing up in Illinois, a good buddy, Freddie Bell, was a great organic gardener. He used to produce huge crops of beefsteaks and such, and there was always so many tomatoes in Fred's garden that I'd be bringing bushels of them over to my folks to make tomato sauce, canned tomatoes, and so on. This was common. I spent a good part of the first half of my life putting tomatoes in jars. Like a song says, my grandma took the summer and she put it all in jars. Yeah. So. And that's what we did. Yeah, we made salsa, we made spaghetti sauce, and at the end of the year when it all froze, Mom would make pickled green tomatoes. We had so many tomatoes that, it was almost more than zucchini. Well, both zucchini and tomatoes are real problems to raise here in Puna. Yeah, I mean, I know there's people who have this idea that, in the tropics, everything grows. Well, it's kind of like some things grow incredibly well here and other things just die. Yeah, our conditions here cause a lot of different pathogens to grow, and we got nematodes in any soil on this island, which tomatoes don't like nematodes much. Well, this one's very nematode resistant. It's also resistant to late blight and a whole cluster of other diseases. I have yet to taste it. Yes, I know, because obviously most tomato gardeners, the main point is flavor. Well, here in Puna, it's actually getting something that looks like a tomato. If you can get something that looks like this in your garden, man, it's a winner. I don't care if it tastes like cardboard. Anyway, yeah, I was going to sample these this morning in front of the camera. We'll see, how this goes. I don't know which ones. They're both about the same condition. Oh boy. Yeah. So, like I say, this might sound silly to folks in the center of the country or people in California, but it's just, Puna's just not a place for tomatoes, I'm telling you. And when you can do this, it's exciting. So, here we go. Start off here and slice the top off. Now, this thing doesn't have much of a green shoulder, and there isn't much cracking around the stem. There's a little bit. Ooh. Huh? Interior looks fine. And a little bit of green up there. Let's see here. I suppose it looks like I could have probably left this go just a little bit longer, but I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. It looked red. All right, so she's a beauty. Nice slicer. I'd call it mild. Some tomatoes are highly acid. Some are sweet. This one has enough sugar to be appealing, enough acidity to be called a tomato. But in general, I would have to say that this tomato is somewhat on the mild side. The flesh has pretty good quality. Yeah. It's got pretty good mouthfeel. So, there's no way that the flavor of this is ever going to compete with brandy wine. Okay? This is not a brandy wine, but this is a good tomato. I give it on a 1 to 10 scale. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6 overall, and for Puna, I'm going to give it a 10. I don't give 10s to anything. 10 is God, okay? Yeah, so this is a 10 because I've got it in my hand and I'm eating it. Well, a little more research indicates there may be a few other tomatoes out there that have what it takes to actually work here. I've sort of been looking in the wrong places, I guess. That seems to be what it is. Because I have bred plenty of disease-resistant tomatoes. I mean, but highly disease-resistant. I'm not talking about, things like Early Girl or Roma or that, which are reasonably, they get VFNs. I mean, you all realize that these tomatoes most have a code. You look at you pick up an Early Girl on a table at the nursery and it's going to say Early Girl VFN. That means verticillium, fusarium, and nematodes. Well, the disease resistance on this thing here is so long that I'd have to go look it up so I could even repeat it. It has multiple disease resistances against most things that would kill other tomatoes. How they did it, I don't know. It's not a GMO. It's a F1 hybrid. But here we are. Here I am in Puna, and I have a tomato. I can see what's coming. Yeah, I can see jars and jars of homemade pasta sauce. In California, I really specialized in making my own pasta sauce. Had a really good recipe, and it was absolutely delicious. Ellen, who is not a big fan of tomatoes, for instance, loved it, so it was really good. I haven't been able to do that since I moved here. This is gonna let me do it. Yes, I've crossed the threshold with tomatoes here. I'm so excited. Yeah. The rest of you can laugh at me. I hear you laughing halfway across the country. He thinks it's a big deal. The guy's got a tomato. The guy's got a tomato. Yeah, I know. Hang loose. Aloha.